Hey there, this is Matthew again, and we are now on season 1 still, episode 2, and we're talking all about integrity. So we're just building on the last episode. Every episode we'll build as a foundation to the next, to help everyone with the structure of integrity, because that's a key foundation for living in the zone with Anna here. And so yeah, why don't we just jump into what is your definition of integrity and how does it work in your life?
So integrity is a strong connection between mind, body, and spirit. So it goes with developing the character. Character is a huge component of integrity, meaning following through on a decision long after the excitement of the moment has passed. So if we make a decision on losing weight or starting a business or traveling somewhere or achieving some kind of a goal, like following through on that decision long after the excitement has passed, because we get excited, everything sounds amazing, let's do it, and then we just like drop the ball. Integrity is something that helps us with achieving that goal. Mind-body connection. So mind is the boss, the body is the factory. The factory wants to do everything to keep the boss happy, and the boss wants to get good results. Wants the factory also, the factory represents the boss, the manager. So it's like an amazing relationship between the two. They both want to really fulfill and make each other happy. Integrity is also keeping the promises. So if I say I'm gonna do something, I better do it. Like I better take myself seriously. So when we say I'm gonna start meditating for 20 minutes, or if I'm gonna eat something superfoods or healthy vitamins or supplements, or juicing in the morning, or doing yoga, anything that we say to make us feel better, we better do it. Because what I found interesting, Matt, is we are more likely to keep promises to other people, right? Let's say if I promise my boss something, or my family members, or someone from a radio station, most likely I'm going to keep my promises. However, when it comes to keeping our own promises, let's say I'm going to meditate for 20 minutes every day, I'm going to work out, I'm going to eat this and not eat that. No one else is watching, no one is holding us accountable, and we just like drop the ball on ourselves. We do not keep our promises to ourselves. So I encourage people to almost like do the reversal, like keep your promises first, and then everyone else is secondary. And if you know that you cannot fulfill the promises, you cannot keep them, don't make promises. Just say, I'm not sure if I can do it. Just release yourself off hook right away. I'm not sure if I can commit to this. I want to keep my own promises. I come first. Just like with that mountain that we talked in the very beginning, I come first. I gotta feel amazing. I gotta get my health really, really high and well. So then I have that energy, I have that passion, I have that time to lead the company, to help to create an amazing space for my clients, to have the breakthroughs, to heal, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Now I think this is a key thing, and we're going to wait till the end to really get into specific action steps for the viewers, but maybe about your journey. How did you discover this idea of integrity, and how did you start to weave it into your own life?
Yeah, it's been a process in coming. It didn't happen overnight. Before I got to where I am, I listened to a lot of audios, I went to a lot of seminars, and I also read a lot of books. I'm a reader. And there is that fine kind of like common denominator between all of it. Integrity, keeping yourself seriously, making sure that you develop your character is what's gonna help you to become successful. And I started paying attention, like, hey, I'm not following through on my decisions. I said I was gonna do this and I didn't do it, and maybe this is where my business is flanking. Maybe this is why my clients are rescheduling or canceling, because I said I was gonna respond to the email and I didn't till next day. So I started seeing my own inconsistencies. I'm like, oh, I see, I know what to do now. And it's interesting because now integrity is a huge part of my own practice with my own clients. I always share this example of a wheel. So imagine integrity is like a bike wheel. It has spokes, right? And when you are out of integrity, whether it's 10%, 20%, 30%, some of the spokes will be loose. So what happens when you have that kind of a wheel in a bicycle, all of a sudden your bicycle is wobbly. You hop on it and you want to cycle 100 kilometers and you're not sure if you can even cycle around the corner because the bike is wobbly, it's untrustworthy. It's like, I'm afraid to even ride this bike. I don't know if it's gonna take me where I wanna go. Now when the integrity is at a high level, at 100%, 90%, the spokes are nice and tight. You hop on the bike and it's reliable. Like, I can trust this bike. I can go 200 kilometers if I want to. I can cycle the whole Canada on this if I want to, because you know the bike is extremely trustworthy. So it's the same thing with ourselves. When we know we are at high integrity, we take ourselves seriously. And when we take ourselves seriously, everyone around us will take us seriously. Integrity is also connected to trust, like that bicycle. We can trust ourselves. I know if I'm gonna say, hey, I'm gonna become a success. I'm going to reach this goal. I'm gonna do this and that. It's done before I even said it, vocalize it, because I'm at such high integrity that if I say something, it's gonna happen because I fulfill and follow up on my promises and my body takes me seriously. So if I say I'm gonna do something, my body's gonna do everything it can help me to make sure that that declaration was fulfilled, that it's actually going to happen. So the trust is really important. Like, sometimes people don't even set the goals because they don't trust that they can even achieve it. It's like, I don't know if I can do it, it's like they already sabotage themselves because they don't trust themselves. Sometimes starting a company is like, they don't even want to think about it because they already know they don't trust themselves. Like, I probably will fail because I've done that before, right? I don't trust myself. So it's almost like they want to, but they won't because there is no that like bonding energy that's like, no, you can do it. Like, you can, your body, your company is like, yes, we can set those goals. We can actually achieve those goals, right?
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's making a lot of sense. So can we get some more specifics here? Like maybe your bike trip across Canada would be a good example. How did you practice integrity to complete that journey, to start and complete that journey?
Yeah, so biking trip was interesting because that was my dream. And I had this dream for 18 years and I really, really wanted to fill and cycle across the whole Canada. 7,200 kilometers. And it's overwhelming when you think of it that way, but I started thinking like, well, how do you achieve a dream? Like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So I thought, like, I just have to think of one day at a time. I have to think of 100 kilometers a day. My average ended up being 150, but doesn't matter. The fact is, like, just 150 kilometers, I just gotta think of the next day, the next day, the next day. And it was interesting because once you say what you're gonna do and you do it, and you say what you're gonna do and you do it, your body almost is like excited. It's like, I'll do it. I'll help you I'll help you achieve that goal. And to one point, it was so amazing to see that my body is actually really secondary to my mind. My mind is the most important aspect of my health. It's not my body. When I made a decision that today is going to be my record day and I'm going to cycle 260 kilometers, I achieved that goal without even knowing how I did it, because I said so. My body did everything it could to help me achieve this goal. And it was almost like I knew that whatever I say, it's going to happen because I said so. Like, all of a sudden my word was like, there was like a depth to it and like a weight to it. Like, it was like power. It's like my word is like, if I say I'm gonna do something, it's done. You know, it was amazing. I felt like this whole trip, all of a sudden, wasn't whether I'm gonna do it or not. I never even questioned that whether I'm gonna cycle across Canada or not. It was, holy smoke, I get to enjoy this beautiful country. Every day I was cycling through beautiful plants, blossoming, blooming, smelling, inhaling amazing fragrances, listening to the birds. I started recognizing myself in different areas, which was really interesting, but I'm not gonna get to it right now. But yeah, it wasn't like whether I'm gonna do it, it was when I'm gonna do it. I knew that there's no way I can cycle 7,000 to 100 kilometers in one day, right? So I just knew that it's just a matter of time, but I just gotta do the next step, do the next step, do the next step, right?
That makes a lot of sense. I know you're gonna touch on it in another episode. Recognizing yourself, you're talking like on the spiritual level?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because health is mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah.
And spirit is a big aspect of us as well, right? But this is more like we're talking about health right
just
now,
stick
body.
to the theme. Yeah. Cool. So that makes a lot of sense, and it's a good example, I think, for people to relate to, especially myself. So I'm going to read a quote from the book that I really enjoyed for everyone who's viewing here, and then we can have a little bit of a discussion around it. So here it is. Integrity, or the connection between words and actions, is crucial. Health is one of the outcomes of integrity. We feel empowered when we know our word means something. When we honor the promises we make, the power of our mind, body, and spirit working as one makes a ripple in the universe. The universe takes us seriously too. If you say you are going to be a successful business owner, you become one, because your word has the power to make it happen. So when you're talking about your word, you're talking about the language you're using, or the words you're speaking. That's the idea?
Yeah, because the words, the sound is a frequency, right? Like the whole material structure of universe is a frequency, and it all begins with sound. It all begins with declaration, and your sound can have value to it and depth, or your sound could be just like flaky, kind of like noise. When you take yourself seriously, you create a statement in the universe that when I declare something, it's done because I said so. It's so powerful to actually get there. Just like with the Japanese warriors. Do you remember? We learned that in school, that they would die and keep their word and break their word. Their word was everything to them. And this is what's happening in our society. When you look why we have such, I would say dysfunctional almost society, it's because people do not keep their word. They are out of integrity with politicians. They create amazing platforms and people sign up for like, yes, I want you to do it. And then at the end of the term, no one checks. Hey, did you said you were gonna do this? You said you were gonna do this? You said you were gonna do this? You didn't do that. Well, you actually go to the jail, right? There's actually punishment because you tricked us. But what do we do with our politicians? We give them salary, benefits and whatnot. Like no one is holding them accountable, you know, and the platform is just like soap in our eyes, just like, oh yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. But actually they do whatever they like during the term. And you know, this is found everywhere, not just in politicians. So we are, as a society, we are out of integrity. You know, we are cutting our jungles, our forests that is giving us amazing life force of fresh air and oxygen, and we actually killing that, you know? Like, it's like, oh my God, we have products to substitute plastic and all the fossil fuels that we no longer need to use, but we still, because it's a good business, it's profitable, we still use it, even though the plastic ends up in oceans and fish eat it and they die and the birds die and we have all this like chain reaction of this disruption, we're still doing it, and it's like if we were at integrity and we said, hey, I want to live on a healthy planet, I want to be healthy, I want to see my family and friends and children healthy, I'm not gonna participate in those events. I'm not gonna buy plastic bags. I'm not gonna go to this restaurant. I'm not gonna do this. Because if we were at integrity, I think not only we would experience transformation on our own level, health-wise and business-wise, within our own radius, but we would actually experience transformation on a planetary basis. We need to consider getting back to integrity, right?
Yeah. Okay, well that's pretty amazing. So I'm getting a few things from this idea of integrity. One that came up just now was choice. So it really opens up more choice, not feeling like you're locked into this kind of cultural society. You mentioned politicians, and many of them say things and do something else. So follow through was the second thing. Following through on what you say you're going to do. That seemed like a really important point. And then there was one more idea. So there's choice, follow through, and I don't remember the other idea
action.
I had, but no, actually, I think it's action important. That's part of the follow through that I got. I don't even know if the word was in here or not. I mean, the other aspect that really comes up for me is the idea of integrity is about being integrated on all levels, mind, body, and spirit. So it's taking a more holistic approach to life, and that seems really present in what you're doing. So I guess it makes sense to just transition into that final piece right now. What are some things that people can do right now that's very simple for them to start realizing greater levels of integrity and following through on their word and things of that nature?
Yeah, so one thing to recognize, you can actually go within yourself and ask, in a scale from 1 to 10, where do I fall on integrity level? And most of us will get a number, whether it's 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's workable because it's your own intuition, it's your own body telling you. When we get these, how is your energy level? Oh, it's 9 out of 10. Like, we have those numbers out of somewhere, right? Like, our body is talking to us. So if you ask yourself, how is my integrity? Where am I in a scale from 1 to 10? Second of all, the exercise. So I find it like the simpler, the better. To restore integrity is a long process. It's not something that happens overnight. And it's good to set up goals that you end up winning. So for example, at night, I write 5 things that I'm gonna do the next day. Most of them are related to my business, but there will be also something for me, whether I go to the gym, whether I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna do that. And then I write those 5 things at night. In the morning when I wake up, I will read what I said I was gonna do. And I say, oh, okay, these are the 5 items. I will start with the one that is the hardest, something that, because often when we start with the easiest and we just don't end up doing the hardest. So I start with the hardest, and then it's so much easier to go through the rest. At the end of the day, I look at my list and say, oh, okay, let's review what I said I was gonna do. Item number 1, check. Item number 2, check. Item number 3, check. Item number 4 and 5, check. Okay, so I got 5 out of 5. That's 100%. That's pretty amazing. I do it the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and I said I was gonna do this, and I did it. I said I was gonna do this, and I did it. All of a sudden, my confidence in my own words is rising tremendously. I feel like I'm reliable. After 1 month or a year, if you do that, if you just say you're gonna do something and you do it, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, baby, I'm gonna do it. It's done deal because I said so, right? Like, you start feeling, and then you can make, the goals a little bit harder, maybe, doing something more difficult, where at first you may think, like, take my supplements, that could be item number 1. It's not necessarily to make things very difficult, it's to make things that you're gonna actually do, right? Like, so you wanna have a little bit challenging, something that you would usually not do or you would forget, but it can be too challenging, because if it's too challenging, you end up doing 2 out of 5, 1 out of 5, and then it's like, oh, like you almost like feel like, I don't want to do this anymore. But when you start winning, it's like success breeds success, confidence, right? You start feeling like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to do my next 5 items. I want to do my next 5 items, right? And over time, you start noticing shifts happening in your body. You start feeling like you can rely on yourself. You trust yourself. You feel more confident. Your self-esteem goes up, and which is so crucial in health, right?
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's really inspiring for sure. And I think it's very pragmatic in terms of like what gets managed or what gets measured gets managed, right? So yeah, thanks for that. So that I think that's a great conclusion for episode 2, Living the Zone with Anna. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Be sure to implement. So don't just watch and observe, but participate as well. And take your life to the next level of integrity. And we'll see you on episode 3.
Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're getting a great value from our videos. Please subscribe, like, or comment. I do respond to comments. If you have any questions, please do let me know. And I look forward to seeing you in next episodes.